So today we're making jerk chicken, and it's something that I've always wanted to try, but I didn't know how until I recently saw like a Bobby Flay recipe pop up, and I'm like, oh my God, that's so perfect. So we tried it a few times, like absolutely loved it. So we definitely want to share it with you guys. Okay, so first we're gonna start with the hot sauce that's going along with the chicken. We're gonna chop up one white onion, and you're gonna chop it into little tiny cubes, because we're gonna saute them down and then end up blending them. So this ended up being a lot of onions. We're gonna end up scooping out like 1 cup and just use the 1 cup and save the rest for later. So here we have 1 habanero pepper, and we're gonna chop that up super fine. And we're gonna take the seeds out. First time we made this, I didn't realize that I had left the seeds in, and it was extremely hot. And we're gonna chop these up as fine as you can, because this is gonna go in with the onions. Again, we're gonna end up blending it up. So let's push it off to the side so you can have your area to chop up the mangoes that are coming up next. The recipe calls for 2 mangoes. Let's chop up one. Now, I've never really known the proper way to cut a mango, probably because I just started liking them. But I know there's probably a better way. If somebody wants to comment and tell me how. So here I'm gonna peel off the skin. Maybe that's right, I don't know, but it seems like an easy way to do it. So you wanna make sure the mango's ripe, but not like overly ripe. Sometimes if they've been sitting on the shelf, they are super mushy or not ripe enough. Now we're gonna go ahead and cut off some of the meat. I feel like the combination of mango with spice is so good because it offsets the spice. So these are our leftover mangoes that we're gonna use for our bean salad. So we're gonna move those off to the side so we can get ready to make the hot sauce. We're gonna start the skillet on medium heat, and we're using avocado oil, about one tablespoon. The oil's nice and warm. Now we're gonna saute the onions. Give them a nice mix and make sure they're getting nice and caramelized. Now we're gonna add in our habanero. I'm actually doing, the recipe calls for half. We're gonna do a 1/4 this time because I could tell this one's extra spicy. So now that onions are nice and caramelized, you wanna make sure they're not too done. Now I've tried this recipe a few times, and I think I finally have like perfected it, or at least come close. So that's kind of what I found. You don't wanna overcook them. Then we're gonna dump in the mangoes, let them get warm, and then we're gonna add in some white vinegar. That'll be 1 cup. And we're gonna let the mangoes simmer in that. And we're also about to add a little bit of water. Here's our 1/4 cup of water. Next up, we're adding a pinch of salt. And they're starting to simmer, so we're gonna bring it up to a boil, simmer, and then lower it back down. Now that we've brought it up to boil, we're gonna reduce it to a simmer and give it about like 15-20 minutes until the mangoes are nice and soft. We're gonna start with the seasoning for the chicken. We have first light brown sugar. I feel like this could be called like the 20 spice chicken, because I feel like there's so many spices in there. We have 2 tablespoons of coriander, our ground ginger. And ginger is really good for you. It's good for digestion, which is helpful. And this is a ground onion powder. 1 tablespoon of garlic powder, which happens to be my favorite. We use that in probably every chicken recipe. So I'm thankful that it was in this one. And 1 tablespoon iodized salt. Next up is our cayenne pepper. Now originally the recipe called for 1 teaspoon, and we cut it in half. So you do a 1/2 teaspoon, since we have that hot sauce also. And 1 teaspoon black pepper. 1 teaspoon thyme. And if you don't have dried thyme, you can use fresh, I think. It'll taste just as good. And this one is ground cloves. So this was my first time ever buying cloves, but now we have it, so we're gonna make a lot more recipes with it. 1 teaspoon cinnamon, which is one of my favorites also. And this one is 1 teaspoon allspice. Well, that's another one that was new to me. So thank you, Bobby Flay, for that. So now that we have all the spices in, give it a nice stir and make sure they're all mixed around. You don't want to have clumps in it or anything. This is enough for about 8 chicken thighs. Here we have our little handy dandy like blender pureer. We're gonna dump in our mango mixture. Oops, hopefully into the cup. Make sure you get all the juices in there. Now we're gonna give it a few pulses till it's pureed like a hot sauce. Okay, so it's nice and mixed, and here's the nice consistency of it. It totally reminds me of baby food, but it's not. So we have our hot sauce done, seasonings ready, and we're gonna season 3 chicken breasts. Now, this recipe will do about 8. So you're gonna take your ready to go chicken breast. You can pat them down and dry them a little bit if you want. And then you're gonna generously season them. You wanna rub that seasoning all over. Make sure to oil the pan before you put the chicken on so it doesn't stick. When you're seasoning it, you wanna make sure to get it on there nice and good and rub it in. So you can even like lift up the skin a little bit just to make sure to get every little corner. Now flip them over and do the same to the other side. If for some reason that you don't have bone in, then you can just do boneless, skinless. You want to make sure to set your oven at 375, so you can do that prior to seasoning it so it's ready for you. I like to give the chicken one last little splash of olive oil on top, and you want the skin up so it gets nice and crispy. Chicken's ready, oven is heated, and they're going in. And I'm already getting hungry. Next is our black bean mango salad, and the mangoes give the beans a nice contrast, so it's super yummy. You guys are gonna love it, and it gives you extra protein on top of the chicken. So let's start with our can of black beans. I like to rinse them. Just use a little handy strainer. Give them a quick rinse. Dump in the black beans. Here we are with our fresh cilantro. We're gonna give it a chop. It's about 1/4 of a cup. You can never have too much cilantro if you want to throw in extra. And it's nice and chopped up. Now we have half a purple onion, and you're gonna give that another chop and dice it up. I was reading that here in America we say red onion, but I've always said purple. And in Europe, they say purple. So I would like to know what people say, because I thought purple was the right way. Well, these are just as strong as the other ones. I'm gonna switch over to my new chopper. I'm trying to get them chopped up finer. Maybe the knife was a better idea. So I'm definitely over this, and I decided that I'm gonna pull out the chopper that I should have used to begin with. And we're gonna do one round in here. We have our purple onions going in. Give those a toss, and we have 1 teaspoon garlic powder. So that'll go nice with the chicken since there's garlic powder in the chicken. Here's our chopped up fresh mango. We're gonna dump that into the bean salad. Let's get our fresh lime juice in there. It's the juice of 1 lime. Add a 1/2 teaspoon of salt and give it a nice mix. And I like to add in a splash of olive oil. So our bean salad is ready, and it's super delicious. I feel like it could be a meal in itself. You're not gonna wanna stop eating it. So here's the chicken, and I may have snuck a bite, but it's bursting with flavor. You guys are gonna love it. So let's get it on a plate and show you how good it looks. The chicken is definitely nice and crispy. I love when the skin comes out like that. So I definitely want 2 scoops of this salad because it's so good. Let's get some of that yummy sauce. Oh yeah, look at the juices. That looks good. I'm gonna give it a little dip in the hot sauce. The sweetness with the salt and the spice is so good together. You guys are gonna love it. And I dare you to eat just one. So after making it a few times, I definitely feel like I've nailed the spices. So I believe you guys are gonna love the final product. The salad I came up with myself, so let me know what you think of it. And it's the perfect healthy dinner. You can throw in rice if you want to add in rice, because a bean salad would mix well with rice. You can meal prep it, make it for the week, or just a couple pieces, but it's really good. I hope you guys all like it.